Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. And in this episode, we're going to give you our review for Gen V Episode 3, now streaming on Prime. If you guys haven't yet checked out our Episode 1 and 2 non-spoiler and spoiler review, go do so. Links in the comments below, then check this video out. Wow, what a gory episode. What an interesting episode. Dylan, without further ado, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, it's still pretty good. I think I still like the first two more than this one. There wasn't as much action, I feel like, in this episode, but there is still kind of a lingering mystery going on. We see some characters are kind of making their way into discovering things, like Emma and Andre are trying to figure out what's going on with Sam, which is Luke's brother, right? So we finally get to see him more in this episode. And Marie is kind of becoming like she's almost kind of like drinking the Kool-Aid of Godolkin in a way, but she still knows, like, she's trying to be honest with herself, but it's hard because she wants to find her sister, right? So unfortunately she has to go along with this whole act that Godolkin and Vought is kind of like painting her to be. But what are your thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, for sure. It's really cool to see how the parents are. I mean, all the parents, in a way. I think Starlight's mom is a perfect representation of these type of parents. I kind of wish we seen something a little bit more different, a little bit more nuanced and complex. But yeah, we still get a lot of. It kind of seems superficial in a way. It looks like they're stickers for like bad parents that are just using their children. I wish there was something different though, with at least some of these people. But that's fine. I mean, I think the polarity thing is interesting. Mark my words. I feel like Andre is going to lead to Polarity's death, his father's death, eventually. Because he seemed really scared. There was that reveal that he knows something that's going on with the woods. We mentioned parents. Now, I do want to ask you something, because I found this really, really interesting. Jordan Lee had a good spotlight in this episode with his or she's parents. That's so cool, because this is like, we see plenty of non-binary stuff, especially like in Transformers, what is it, Earthspark or whatever that was like recently with the motorcycle
Right.
thing. The way how to handle this though got me really thinking. Like I actually was like, this was easier to swallow for me for some reason. I really liked how they approached this. This was so unique of a concept. Let me get your thoughts on that.
It's very unique. Like I said, like, Jordan is one of my favorite characters in this show just because of the whole duality complex, right? This is literally a person who can swap genders like on the fly, right?
Yeah.
And to see their relationship with their parents, and especially with the father, because the father, I think, wanted a son originally. And he said, like, you could be a son like anytime you wanted. I thought that was interesting because Jordan just wants to be themselves in a way, and it's kind of like, it shouldn't matter like who I am. You should just accept me as your child, right? And look at me as a person and not as who you want to be. Like, don't impose your own gender onto me, right? I thought that was really interesting, actually, and I love their character, except for the beginning where they were getting railed. That was so like graphic.
Well, that's the thing. I hated that because I thought, honestly, just seeing that, I know a lot of people are confused about the whole non-binary thing, and the whole argument is really tiresome. But this part of the story, I didn't find it to be as like imposing something or like with an agenda. I actually found it to be quite just super unique the way how they approached it, and I really admire that. I was like, oh my goodness, that actually got me thinking, really. But then they always fuck it up when they do something like, as a preference, let's watch Jordan get railed by some guy, and then let's go into it like, hey, what's up, mom,
Right.
or whatever. I always hate that. I kind of sometimes when they approach these type of things, they always like do something good with their hands and mess it up
That's
with
why
their feet.
I always say like the contemporary thing kind of like makes a good point, but then it falls flat because it's like, it's like you have to throw in this cringe little device in there, right?
And it was really, I mean, that was really cool. I think I want to hear your commentary, like now segueing to the other children. So we do, like, Emma, for example, has a big part, especially with her mother. Let me get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, you mentioned Starlight earlier. I think Emma's relationship with her mom reminds me a lot of Starlight because her mom seems to kind of control her narrative in the story. She's trying to get her a like acting position, but unfortunately the the casting director wanted to portray her as like, oh, somebody who had this tragic eating disorder, right? When actually it wasn't even like her decision to do this. Her mom, who kept telling her, who controls her diet, her weight. She's even like trying to like measure her. Like if she doesn't even say like hi to her right away, she's like, oh, let me measure you real quick, right? So she doesn't want to be seen in that spotlight, and perhaps that's why she wants to build like this TikTok kind of rebranding of herself. Yeah, her character is really interesting too. Just seeing how they kind of turn her power into a false gift in a way. Because we saw that with Turnamite, but I never imagined like a shrinking power could be seen as like something that could.
Would you like some water?
I feel like Emma, right? I'm like joking myself. No, but that's I like her characterization too. Of like, she doesn't want to be seen in that spotlight. She's trying to forge her own path, but like through her own lens, right? I think, and that's why she got mad at the other girl, because she was trying to put this like pity story on her. But it was too personal for her, and she doesn't want to be seen in that light, right? She just wants to be like Jordan, like she just wants to be seen as herself, right? Not as this pity story that people are trying to paint her as, right?
Those are great points. All I have to say about that is Liz Broadway. Let me know, guys. Could she actually play Abby in The Last of Us? Because she is like jacked. I was like, oh my god! I think I just found Abby.
Beef, right?
Yeah,
for someone who don't eat, she got a little beef.
Yeah. No, I thought that was really interesting. Let's address the elephant in the room. Is Maddie? She's such a whore. Like what she did with Andre. No, I felt really disrespected. I did not like that. I was like, damn, what the fuck?
Wait, you mean Kate? Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie Phillips. Kate, yeah, dude. When she like kissed when they both, I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
I saw that coming. I felt the sexual tension. Everyone was like, yeah, well, because she doesn't have Luke anymore. So yeah, of course she's gonna like fall for the next guy, right?
But damn, that fast. Holy shit. And especially with the friend. If I was Luke, he should have blew up.
It's a moment of weakness.
Hugging her.
Right? It's a moment of weakness. I mean, they're both, they both lost a friend, obviously, right? So they're trying to find some kind of comfort, right? And they only have each other, right? They're the only closest friend that they have other than Luke. So I feel like it was like a moment of weakness thing where like they just like kind of like just needed that moment to get out of this depression, right?
I'll let you guys debate it in the comments below. I would have if I was him, I would have exploded right like next to them. Okay, that's like messed up. Sure. But I mean, yeah, I do get your point.
What did you think of also Marie in this episode? We didn't see her much as opposed to the other characters, but I think it's important to talk about kind of like her mindset in this episode.
I love her. Yeah, no, her character's great. I really like her character a lot. I thought she's really like different than everybody else. Just the way how she speaks and stuff, and I love the sisterhood that they're forming. She's forming with Emma. I think that's really sweet. That's actually really funny. That's what we should have did when we were in a screening. I needed some help me piss. So that was so funny, that moment.
Well, do you think what she did to Jordan was kind of justified, or do you think it was wrong to do?
Honestly, again, this is where her character reminds me as well. I feel like a lot of these characters are kind of they pull a lot from Starlight. It's really interesting the way how they approach it, and for sure, I feel like this is such a Starlight moment where she just has to surprise everybody and like do the unexpected and kind of backstab Jordan because there's a bigger thing at play. Even if she doesn't know about the woods, she has her own thing. And again, at the end of the day, all she has is her sister. And even if her sister sees her as a monster, she still has to become this hero. So it's not right, but this is just the politics of VOT in general. This is how things are done.
Yeah, you kind of have to swallow the pill to get your end game, right?
The red pill, yes.
Shit. Yeah. Well, any other thoughts you have for this episode, and what do you expect we'll see for episode 4?
Well, yeah, I mean that scene with Emma sneaking and finding Sam, that was really cool. Sam is actually really sweet, and I thought the flashback too. I honestly, it's sometimes hard to like empathize with the supes because they'll have some shit that's wrong with them, but then they end up killing like somebody, and you don't know if that person is just working a 9 to 5 and they have like kids. So it's like at that moment I was pulled out. I was like, oh man, maybe Butcher was right. A scorched earth. Sometimes that's how I feel. But for the most part, I think this episode. Was it as good as the other ones? Maybe not. Now we're starting to get into the woods, not the actual woods, but I mean into the woods of the show where things are becoming a little bit more tumultuous to just walk around and it's becoming more sneakier. And I kind of like that. Now I kind of feel like, okay, now we're into it. Now, this is where we're living in this space. So I think we're probably going to see, I saw the preview for episode 4. I think we're definitely going to see a big ass battle. It seems we seen like some, I don't know if it was like an Airbnb they were at or something like that. They were like tearing it to shreds and there was like all this shit. Perhaps Sam is going to escape. My last thought is if I were to rate this, I probably will rate it a good, I give it like an 8 out of 10. I give it 8 out of 10. So,
interesting.
Now
interesting. I think it was a good episode to show like where these characters come from in terms of what their motivations are, because I think the parental figures are a big part of it. Parents usually can show you why a kid acts a certain way. So to see these parents and to show like why to see their mindsets in a way, like why they act the way they are, but actually it makes them more vulnerable, right? Because you think they're all assholes, but really it's like they're just trying to impress their family, right? So I think that was a really interesting episode in that regard. For sure, I think next episode, probably Emma will help Sam escape. And perhaps we'll even see more of Sage Grove. I actually wonder if we'll see Cindy in the next episode, or like some of the other kids that are locked up in the woods. But overall, I thought it was an okay episode. I'd probably give it 7 out of 10 for me. But yeah, guys, that is our review for episode 3 of Gen V. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, sub to the channel if you enjoyed our reviews. We're still covering the rest of the series. We did episodes 1 and 2, as Akram already said. But guys, we love you so much. Help the channel any way you can. But until then, guys, thanks for having lunch with us.
And remember, you're the real hero. See you guys.